was a slacker in this chair.
You were here before I was, though.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, and you'll feel well, we'll make sure that, get you hold of any.
I'm actually pretty much open now.
I'm not.
Oh, you're not? Oh, I didn't hear you talk.
No, I sound like a frog.
You sound like I did like 3 days ago. No, I didn't get flu though. I got some respiratory thing.
No, other than the email.
Every time I've gotten the flu shot, I've
Nice
gotten
to
the
know.
Yeah, I don't
Which
get it.
meeting was this?
Having a flu shot on my.
Planning commission made a recommendation to the board. Yeah.
working in an office building now. Once one person or two people get it.
It's like, why, I don't know.
The only thing that I want to do is try and actually run that because there's something.
Just.
And, I have a question. A resident.
Boards.
Okay.
Well.
Nervous about the neighbors, so I didn't have
Yeah, well, you can't technically do anything about it.
Right, so what do you do?
Are you good to go, Mike? Yeah. Call meeting to order at 6:34. And we've got David, Willie, me, and Dick here tonight. And Mrs. Mayor will not be here. And has anybody heard from Mark?
Mr. Mazza won't be here, he said.
Okay. So I guess we can go ahead and dive into things. Does anybody have any additions, deletions, or corrections for the agenda? You want to talk about bonfires, so we'll add that on as 5B. And then I'd like to add on this 5C, directing the marshal to actually to enforce fence and shed permits.
Code enforcement.
Yep, code enforcement.
And fence, you said?
Yep. And,
I'll make a motion. Anything else?
no,
I'll make a motion to approve as amended.
I second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 4-0. Has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes from March 8th?
Yes.
Anybody have any changes that need to be made?
No.
Then
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll
as
second.
submitted.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And everybody's opposed. Okay. So, Mac or Mike, you guys have any public input? Go for it.
I have to go up on
I don't really care either way.
You're probably aware of the fact that the city of Monument just paid an undisclosed amount to the methadone clinic I'm not sure about the details, but either they were not allowed to do business there, or they were granted a license and then it was rescinded because the neighbors in the surrounding area went absolutely ballistic when they found out that there was going to be an addiction clinic in their neighborhood. And it turns out that it was right across the street from a park. And so my opinion is that the planning commission should be looking into regulations for, if nothing else, to regulate that type of activity, or be able to show grounds for denial, because my personal assumption is that these kinds of operations choose places like Monument, Palmer Lake, Green Mountain Falls, because they're small. They don't have a lot of regulatory ability, and they can do whatever they do pretty much unabated. And I think that that's probably the biggest reason that the neighbors in the surrounding area around that particular clinic were upset about. Besides the fact that it was in such close proximity to
A park.
a park.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that you guys look at the possibility of treating these types of clinics just like the state and the county and the city of Colorado Springs, and most of the communities around treat retail marijuana places. And I think that the same types of restrictions should be considered, and that's it. I think that's probably going to be a problem looming in the future. The nature of that business, you would think would be more conducive to someplace like Colorado Springs, where the majority of people who are addicted are.
Yeah.
Instead of driving all the way to Monument. But that's their deal, and I think that's something that is probably going to start becoming, I don't want to say popular, but it's going to start becoming prevalent.
It's gonna be something people are looking at as an alternative when they're addicted to illegal drugs.
Exactly, and as everybody knows, especially hard drugs the addiction to hard drugs is really spiking. And so there's probably going to be a need for those types of clinics. I don't know that Green Mountain Falls is the best place for one.
I think a marijuana clinic, marijuana sales facility came up a few years ago before the board. I don't know if it was the planning commission or the trustees, but it was shut down.
Well,
I think this is
actually,
different.
it wasn't shut down as much as there was, physically, the town couldn't fulfill the minimum requirements. So the requirement was that it be in a business zone, that it be so many feet from a park, so many feet from a school, that kind of thing. And there was just no place in the business zone that a retail marijuana shop could perform its duties and
Meet the
fill
legal
the minimum criteria.
So without annexation, there's no place to put a
Correct.
retail
And I
marijuana
think
sales.
in some ways a methadone clinic is seen differently because it's drug treatment. No,
Might be.
I mean, I'm not saying, I don't think we have do we have anything in our code about the drug treatment facility? I don't think we do.
Not one word.
Okay,
Well, medical care,
yeah,
is that medical care?
I'm sure that's debatable, but from what I've read, it's considered medical care. Because it's considered a way to help people become unaddicted to drugs. Not that it always works,
Yeah.
but that's normally what methadone is.
So loosely, it might fall under medical care, and then
Yes.
it's medical care addressed in the code.
But I think we're lucky and unique in the respect that because our business zone is relatively small and not likely to get much larger,
Yeah,
its proximity to parks and there is a school, or was a school at the Church in the Wildwood at one time.
yeah,
And so that, the close proximity to those types of facilities are
right. Really, the only place would be that parcel right there. It'd be far enough away. What?
The point.
Mhm.
But, yeah, I think it's something we need to think about. It's definitely more complicated.
Well, I know that, those people living in mine were upset, all capital letters. They made a huge issue out of it for probably
Business.
3 or 4
It would be business.
city council meetings.
It's understandable.
Sure.
mean,
So, that's something that either needs to be, you need to head that off. I just think it makes sense to think about that. Be thinking about it now before it crops up when there are no regs.
Would this town even be within the demographics to have something like that? I mean, I don't.
well, I mean, opiate use is a big problem in more rural areas right now. So, I don't remember if methadone can treat opiate addiction, but
Medical.
yeah, it's,
Heroin.
yeah, I thought it was heroin, but I don't know if it treats other stuff either, so. But something we'll definitely think about, maybe do some research on this week and see what we come up with.
Thank you.
Don't think that's something we can solve tonight.
No, obviously not,
Yeah.
but that, I think it's something that looms in the future.
Mhm.
Real quickly, what was the 30-second version of what happened in Monument? You started out with Monument
They went in, they found a building, it just so happened it was pretty close to a park. They applied for a business license and got it, and then started advertising, that they're gonna start treating people for addiction, and the neighbors went nuts.
That's understandable.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know that, yeah,
Well,
it's a bigger issue than a short-term rental probably.
we just looked at the land use code, medical treatment facilities,
Medical clinic.
medical clinics are permitted use under the business district.
Right, so if it's something we actually wanted to head off, we have to look further into it.
You'd have to put some restriction in the code
I agree.
and be specific.
So
So that would be the task.
if you
If
guys
you wanted
have,
to prevent marijuana or methadone.
well,
Whatever.
I think medical marijuana would be, is under something totally different from what I've heard.
That's sale, retail sales.
Yeah, methadone is usually, I think it's usually supported by the government.
What was Monument's neighbor's objection to having a methadone clinic in their
Well,
neighborhood?
they didn't want it at all.
Right.
Their objection, their big objection was the fact that it was so close to a park.
These were the citizens objecting.
They were afraid of the patients
Yes, and
being out of control or something?
well, that I don't know.
Yeah.
That I don't know. But the point is that, if it'll happen in Monument, it'll happen in the park,
Yeah,
Manitou, you name it, pick a spot.
Well, maybe you ought to put on the agenda for a future meeting and look for a model code someplace that specifically prohibits.
I'll do some research on it this week, see what I can
Okay.
find.
Okay.
You'll find that heroin is the biggest worry from Divide to Colorado Springs. They have a task force right now, the sheriff does.
Yeah.
So,
It's the biggest worry, from Canada to Mexico.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no,
and a big part of it is because they're spiking the heroin now with a drug that's more addictive but cheaper. So it's causing even more problems. But yeah, I'll look into it this week.
thank you.
Mike?
in doing some research on some stuff down Cascade, I ran across a study that was done by CDOT, Greenmount Falls, part of it back in 1998. It has to do with the roads that we have here in the past. And when it was Dr. Hines that did the work for the state. He's done hundreds of thousands of miles of roads throughout the country. So I considered him an expert. I'd asked for the document to be sent to me, I paid for it. Supposedly there is a copy of it here in Greenmount Falls somewhere. And at a meeting, the doctor was asked, what do you think of our roads? And he probably like said, you don't have roads. So the recommendation that he gave was to pave the upper roads. Now I'm quoting this from somebody who was reading the document in Denver. In Cascade, I never hear anybody say our roads are terrible. And they all have, patch, blacktop or tar on them. So when I receive the document, if we can't find it here, I'll bring it to you and let you have it. I just think that would end a lot of warning. If we could look at that recommendation, find the means to either, like they did in Cascade, many times they bought the old scraped off tar and then, or blacktop and replaced it. And like I said, I just never heard of anybody complaining about it. It might be something to calm the angry citizens.
So the study's author,
Dr. Hines,
Dr. Hines, recommended that the upper roads within Green Mountain Falls
within this area,
yes,
we pass.
be paved.
And it's because it's decomposing granite, and even by putting the top of, like, just plain road oil on it, you actually cause the lower granite to be, because it decomposes from the bottom up to the top, you actually enhance the decomposition. Like I said, I had the person reading it to me, and after about half an hour, she decided that I should pay to have the study reset. But 1998 is not that long ago.
I have some experience in this area, because I was closely related to the maintenance department for many years. We looked into the possibility of that, and talked with some communities who have experienced that. The cost of paving, of prepping and paving is, I don't want to overstate, but astronomical for our purposes. The ability for the town to be able to pave any streets is pretty much out of the question. That means that the money's going to have to come from somewhere else. The other thing is that the roads in Chipeta Park and Cascade were paved about 18 or 20 years ago. The county, their logic for doing it was because they felt that they could save a considerable amount of money in maintenance costs. So they paved a lot of the roads in Chipeta Park and Cascade. Maybe they paved them all. The problem is that the roads were wonderful for 2 years. But when you're at above 7,000 feet, the freeze-thaw process is considerably different than it is at 6,000 feet. The cost for maintaining a lane mile of dirt road is about $300 to $400 a lane mile, which means you have 2 lanes, so it costs you $500, $400 to do this side, and $400 to do this side. So you're talking about $800 to $1,000 per mile of 2-way road. The cost for maintaining paved roads, asphalt in particular, goes to about $1,400 per mile after the first couple of years. Dirt roads you're gonna have to maintain every year, regardless. It's an ongoing process. Asphalt paving looks pretty good, acts pretty good for a couple of years. The problem being that when you have streets that are roughly 12 to 22% grade, you have a real problem with, in bad weather, getting up and slowing down, coming down, especially in the snow. So we explored that at some length, and we spent a considerable amount of time discovering that we were probably a lot better off with the dirt roads on the roads that we have that are dirt. We were fortunate in the early 2000s when we repaved UPass Avenue. We had that was money from our RTA. That was our capital improvement for our RTA money. And we had set aside, or they had set aside on our behalf, $256,000 or $253,000 to repave UPass Avenue. We didn't have an opportunity for several years to do that, and so the money sat at interest. And when we finally got ready to do it, we had accumulated another $55,000 or $60,000 in interest. So we were able to not only pave UPass Avenue, but we were also able to pave some of the lower streets like Oak Street, Maple Street, Howard, parts of Foster, Park Street. And so we got, we got lucky by kind of dragging our feet. Streets steeper than Park Street, or the stretch of Foster behind the marshal's office park there, are really not conducive to long-time use with asphalt paving. And actually the cost for concrete is really astronomical compared to asphalt. It's probably 2.5 to 3 times the cost. And the maintenance is, for all intents and purposes, even more expensive. So the idea of pavement is great if you're on the flat. But once you get in the conditions where the streets start to steepen, the only place that asphalt is going to last and going to remain is those places where the street is flat. The other problem with even if you do have a flat street that's high, the runoff on those streets is even more damaging to the dirt roads below because of the volume of water that goes off. None of it soaks in. So anyway, it's a noble cause, but really counterproductive in a community like this where the roads are very steep. They flatten out for a little bit and then go back to steepness.
We don't have this anymore.
Oh.
Is it something?
While we're on it, Michael, have you brought this to the board's attention?
I just would like you to read the report. It has a section addressing runoff and erosion and things like that. It just brought to your attention. It's coming out. I'll provide it to you, and maybe there's another solution out there since '98.
Yeah, who knows? If you happen to find that report, Renee, can you let us borrow it?
Sure.
Thanks. I mean, who knows? It might be here.
Yeah.
It might have got burned up. Who knows? So, but I guess we can go on to the public hearing unless there's any opposition. Okay. So we will, I think I have to adjourn and then go back in, right?
I don't think we have to adjourn, we just opened the public hearing.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's open the public hearing at 6:55 for the vacation rental at 10770 Grandview Avenue. And so anyone that would like to speak? Yes, speak to this, you get to go up to the podium if you actually want to speak. Or
You're Lisa?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And how do you say your last name? I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. So do you guys have any questions for Lisa?
Well, Lisa gave us an application on February 23rd meeting. And at that time, we set a public hearing.
Yep.
So the application has been received, so you may want to ask the clerk what's happened since that meeting.
10 letters were sent out, 6 were returned, either in letter form or by email. 2 were not returned, and 2 were not deliverable. The addresses that were provided on the assessor's site were not PO boxes for 2 of the addresses. We attempted to mail them regardless, and they came back to us. All were in favor of granting the vacation rental. There were no opposed.
Thank you. So does anybody in the audience have input during the public hearing? I think in that case, we can close the public hearing.
There was one comment made that they would prefer that Lisa proactively control parking on Grandview, as it does get congested at times.
And I think you'd already addressed that you would take care of that. And you have parking at your house in addition to parking at this house, so. Cause you live right across the street almost? Okay. Great.
So as far as I'm concerned, you guys 100% approval.
Yeah,
I drove up and looked at the parking situation. There is one diagonal parking space on the property, and there's about 8 foot of shoulder, still allowing 2 cars to pass on the north side of Grandview.
okay.
And or the length of the lot, which is probably 50 feet. So it, to me, it's possible to put 2 cars in there at least.
Okay.
And by the way, Lisa testified on how she was gonna handle the parking
Mhm.
on our February 23rd meeting, and we agreed that it was adequate. So
Yes, yeah, I remember that.
I also see that she has her house rules, which are very nicely done and pertain to the basic rules of the area and of course to her house that she wants to have taken care of. So I don't see a problem with this application at all.
Great. Well, I'm gonna close the public hearing at 7. And then we can go ahead and, I'd like to make a motion to recommend to the board that they approve the vacation rental at 10770 Grandview.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
With findings.
Yeah.
That list.
Right.
Okay.
I-
One second.
You don't have to read them all.
Some discussion.
But there is some discussion, yes.
Yes,
Right, I was gonna say discussion, so.
yeah, Lisa, do you have a limit on the number of cars that your visitors can bring?
Second.
Well, I only have occupancy for 4, so I was assuming the most I would have would be 2 cars.
I'd recommend that if you encounter when there's 3,
Okay.
that you respond to that.
Uh-huh.
We can leave it as it is now, but
Okay,
if you get 3 cars,
Yeah.
that could be problematic.
yeah,
Okay.
and they can park at my house, is that?
Who's second?
There's a-
that's-
that's
Okay.
You know, if you have some special guests,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah,
I mean, there's always the time
Yeah.
where, people are here, they have relatives in the park, Colorado Springs, they come up to say hi. So there's always, any place, there's gonna be a chance that someone will be there for a couple hours.
And
So that's not,
As long as people can drive through there, I'm a happy camper.
okay.
and there's one thing I'd like to make it very clear that some of the issues that we haven't quite set up yet, that we have to get approve, is that we want to see the fact that you have a business license, and we want to see the CDO, our Colorado Department of Revenue tax license.
I guess I,
That hasn't been mentioned in a lot of vacation rentals, and I guess, starting with you, Lisa, I want to make sure that, me being new on the board, I want to make sure this does happen.
and I talked to Renee about that when I first applied, but I didn't want to purchase it if I wasn't.
No, I understand that, but that would be a criteria, or would be
Out of curiosity, what was the charge the state was gonna charge you for a license? Do you know?
Was it, I don't even know, I haven't got.
That's 16, I think I pay $16 a year.
16?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any charge, $16, there's no charge to get a license, but it's $16 to yearly fee.
Compared to the last time we had a vacation rental come before us, this is easy.
I do have one thing that, like, if you're reviewing how the process is going, is, there, my information was on a Facebook page, the house rules, and then 2 or 3 of my neighbors' comments, and I just felt like it was not public record yet, or.
Your information was on a Facebook page?
Yeah. the neighbors' page.
Oh, because on this, because it was in the minutes?
Because it was in, well, it wasn't even in the packet, so it wasn't even on the Greenhouse website. But I just felt like it's inappropriate to
Yeah,
put information public that's not even in the Greenhouse.
so something
website.
like,
So,
if it was the agenda, I think it would have been on the website, wouldn't it?
What information was
it was the house rules, which were only just a proposal, so, and then, 3 of my neighbors' applications, but I was thinking, well, what I have good relationships with my neighbors, but what
Yeah.
if they said something that I didn't really
Huh.
appreciate being out there?
Was it on Lori's page? Was it on the
Yeah.
mayor's page?
Yeah, and I
Okay.
Who posted,
mentioned it.
Well, Lori posts all that stuff on her page.
she posts house rules?
Well, no, it's the whole packet.
Oh,
It's public
the packets made available to
because it's
public.
record, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, really, when it's in the packet, or when it's like this, when it's our planning commission packet,
Yeah.
it's really supposed to be on the town website, and so it's already technically
Yeah.
public.
Well, I've never had that situation before either. I agree with Lisa. I
Yeah, I
don't
can
think
see
it should be
it's-
put in the pack. I think it's something that should be just for the town hall records. It's the minutes and everything are fine, but putting out her in favor of or not in favor, I don't think it's never been on on Facebook before, and I think it's.
Right, and it's not just that, but it's also, it's putting, I don't know,
Somebody
Is it a
else.
stamp of approval?
yeah.
I
Well, I think it
we
was just
overdo
that
the
intro
social
to
media,
or the website.
I'm not gonna necessarily agree with you on that, but.
I mean, as far as everything that we have to do, I don't think it's necessary for the letters.
Yeah, so I think, maybe we can just talk about, and
Because.
maybe not putting the packets out on Facebook, but the minutes of the meeting
Right.
are gonna be on Facebook, or
Yeah,
not Facebook, but at least on the town website, either way, they're gonna be public information, so.
The minutes
No,
don't
it is.
include the rules.
The forms should always be on the website, forms.
Yeah.
But the only thing that the public needs to know beyond that is that there was consideration. You asked what the results were of the returned letters, the ones that weren't returned, the ones that were not deliverable.
Yeah.
I think that's enough. The idea, and if somebody wants to come to a meeting and express a verbal objection or a verbal acknowledgement that that's what should happen, then it's gonna be in the minutes.
Right, and, I mean, you're right, it doesn't need to be out there, because it is something, though, that if somehow something came up, it would be something that might be open to the freedom of information request.
I can't understand
But I don't know
why the packet was released by the mayor. The packet's for the commissioner, It's not,
Yeah, but it's still not private.
I know.
per se.
Well, but it doesn't need to be made available to the public,
Right.
just to be made available to the public.
I think maybe we need to ask that just the agenda is made available.
Right.
And just the agenda and not everything attached.
The current town website, you can go and
Get the agenda.
it says packet. on there.
Yeah.
I don't know, can you press packet and
Download
download the packet?
since it
Yeah,
can't.
I don't.
I think that's a mistake. So,
I don't put the packets on the town website, I put
It's just
the
the
minutes and I
agenda.
put
the
the
word
agenda.
packet is on the,
It is,
page
that's if
planning
you guys
commission.
chose to do that.
Okay.
so,
And it went on
Looks like-
Lori's website, when, on her release in that interim, when they were
so.
still bringing the web up.
We need to,
I'll just email the mayor and ask her to just
Yeah.
put the agenda on there
That sounds
and not the whole packet. So, thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you.
So, is there any more discussion?
No more discussion from me.
Okay, I don't have the whole spiel to read off of everything.
no,
Started at 16,712.
Thanks.
Actually, you did. You got your point.
You're right, I just don't,
so
this is the first time.
Yeah.
these findings, if the commissioners agree, will be put in the minutes as part of the motion.
Okay. 16:7,
712. There's like seven bullets.
712, there's like 12 bullets. 1 second. Okay, that makes more sense.
My bad.
It's all good. I was looking at those and I was like, those don't pertain at all. Excuse me. Okay, I make a motion to recommend to the board that they approve the vacation rental 10770 Greenview Avenue. And that it conforms to all the requirements under section 16710 in the code. And do you just want to note those down, or do you want me to read them all out? You got it, okay. And I would like to make a motion that we recommend, that the board recommend to the board that
You should read them.
I should, okay. It conforms to the requirements of the zoning ordinances, conforms to the use conforms to the requirements of the zoning ordinances. The petition conforms to the requirements of the zoning ordinances. The use is consistent with the goals and objectives of the master plan. Neighboring land uses are compatible with contemplated use. The use will not result in the oversensitive use of the land. The use will not result in undue traffic congestion or traffic hazards, and the use will not be unreasonably detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare. And welfare.
Okay.
Who would like to
I'll
second?
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye, Kevin Dante.
Let's see,
Yeah, Eric.
you made,
I would-
Eric seconded.
No, Eric
Eric
motion,
made,
motion
you-
second, Caldwell Alexander.
Eric,
I always
got
read
it.
those.
You what?
I've always read those.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Got it. All right. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Lloyd.
That one's yours.
Yeah. I gotta migrate my stuff over to the.
Down the list. Okay, so let's move on to 5B. I think that was, you said Renee, that neighbor had concerns about a bonfire, or fire pit, or something along those lines.
Mr. Ellie, E-L-E-Y, lives on, not Boulder, what is the street, Garfield. And he said that he has concerns about the neighbors across the street doing, and I said, like, bonfire, I'm thinking of high school bonfire.
Like
And,
the one in Woodland Park.
yeah, right. And he said even the fire pits and them getting out of control and the fact that there's so many trees around. and the concern of it just taking one spark to cause issues.
Yeah.
Wanted to know if the town had, codes in place, and you guys had discussed fire pits and things like that for the vacation rentals and whatnot. And he wanted to know if there wasn't any rules and codes regarding specific bonfires and fire pits, why wasn't there, and can there be?
Do you know if the neighbors that he's talking about, are they permanent residents? Or would this be a short-term?
I don't know.
They're, actually, they're related. Probably house is here and gets across what they call Garfield. And then it's a pretty steep slope and there's lots of scrub oak and on that, and I can see their concern. And that drops down into Chris Pc's son's house. He apparently lives there, but he's only there part-time.
Yeah, this gentleman lives at 6730 Garfield.
Yeah.
He said the issue is up on Boulder on the right-hand side.
What's the address?
The gentleman that has the concern, 6730 Garfield.
6730 Garfield?
There's only 3 people that live on the right-hand side of Boulder.
Garfield.
It's the one that comes off the park, just before you turn left and head up the mountain by, past Chris Randina's house.
Garfield's not developed, I don't think.
Well, park
Thanks to.
comes around and goes past Mr. Pc's, the old 1800 mansion. And just before you turn to the left,
Oh, that, Garfield's
Garfield's the one,
up by the Ely's.
yeah, that is Mr.
Okay,
Ely.
Mr. Ely's the one who's
Yeah,
concerned.
Mr. Ely's who's complaining, or asking the question.
So, but the house that he's concerned about is on Boulder.
Is what,
Is on Boulder, because
Yeah.
if Garfield's over there, then all those houses that are on that side of Boulder would be on the left side of Boulder, not the right side, I don't think.
And he may have just.
Depends on which way you're going on Boulder.
yeah,
That's true. But if you're going up Boulder, it'd be this creek side, right?
How's the planning commission involved?
But I think
Fire and code.
from what I've heard around here, if you have a fire pit, you're supposed to have a mesh, like something on top of it that prevents as many sparks as possible from coming out. But I don't know if we have anywhere in the code.
Mr.
Well,
Chairman,
that's kind of a gray area between the fire department
I was
Right,
gonna
and
say,
the town. And if it hasn't been addressed and there isn't something in the town's code about it, it's because the town always deferred to the fire department.
That's right.
on those matters.
So would
So
he,
that's probably something that he should be discussing with the fire department.
right, would he call Tim if he's having a problem at night, or would he call the fire department?
fire department.
I think you should call the fire department.
Okay.
They will act a whole lot faster than the town will be able to.
Right, and they know what they're looking for too.
Well, first of all, what is the ordinance on that? What's?
Well,
There is-
what they're
there
saying
is
is
none.
it's under the fire department, not us.
There may not be one for the town because the town would always defer to the fire department and that kind of
I
thing.
agree with you, Mac. It's time in our code because it's not a land use consideration. It doesn't fall in the review of the planning
It
commission.
only falls under what we're doing like short-term rentals and that kind of stuff.
Well, the only reason I
If we're
bring it
setting
up.
some rules
Right,
The
exactly.
only
for
reason I
short-term rentals.
The only reason I bring it up is because of the fire hazard. And that's using charcoal grills as opposed to gas grills. Because you get done with a charcoal grill, it's still smoldering. And a bear wants that grease, he's gonna knock the thing over, and before you know it, then we have no town left. So when you shut the gas grill off, it's off.
What I think,
So I was just gonna, so I tell my vacation renters,
Right.
that there is no charcoal fireplace, just,
Right.
they wanna bring their own little hibachi, I say, no, it's just a,
Yes,
so my
So,
response to Mr. Ely will be to
contact the
defer
fire
to the
department.
fire.
if you'd like to put a complaint in writing and send it to the town board for consideration, that way it'll put up the town board and they can decide whether they want to write a new ordinance for the town or just refer it to the fire department.
But he can also just call the fire department if he has a concern, to get it taken care of immediately, instead of having to wait for the board to take care of it.
The other thing that I instructed him is that they can be set up for alerts for, I know Teller County sends out the
Yeah.
alerts for wind, if there's gonna be too much wind during
Right.
the fire restriction.
Yep.
So,
Right,
and I
depending
know
on-
So-
Paso does the same.
depending what stage we're in, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how dry it is and what's the fire.
Yeah, like today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wind.
no, I agree. So I think we're good on that? Okay.
Alright.
So, I'd actually sent an email to Lori about this, but, we brought this up a couple times since I've been on the planning commission, that it doesn't seem like the marshal will enforce fence permits and things like that when people build them, and we say, hey, someone built this, can you go talk to them about it? Nothing happens.
Yeah.
So what do we do about that? So my options I saw, because if it's not getting enforced, then we're penalizing the people who are doing the right thing.
Okay, what specific codes do you feel are not being enforced?
Fence permits and shed permits.
What?
Fence permits and shed permits.
Permits and fence permits, where does it break down? During the application process?
Well, no, they don't apply, they just build it.
They just build the fence
Oh,
without an
building
application.
without a permit.
Right.
That's the violation.
Yes. And so it's not, someone builds something, kind of a bummer, but it's not that, for me, it's penalizing the people who are doing the right thing. Because it's like you're fining the people who are doing the right thing, and the people who aren't doing it the right way are getting off scot-free. So I don't think that's cool. So there's one of two options we need to do. We either need to figure out, we need to have the board instruct the marshal to enforce these codes, or we need to take them away.
Take what? Take what away?
Either we need to instruct, the board needs to instruct the marshal to enforce those codes, or we have them take those codes out.
Remove the requirement
Remove the
for,
requirements.
a shed permit, a fence
Well, then,
permit.
if that's the case, then, there is no choice. You just instruct the marshal to do his duty,
Right,
because
We've asked
otherwise
for
you might as
that.
well not have a code at all.
right, we've asked for that in the past, and nothing's happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, that's where I'm coming from.
Well, it's not, all due respect to the marshal, it's not his purview to choose which codes he will enforce and which ones he won't. I know that some of them are a pain in the butt to enforce, but the code is the code.
I mean, I can think of, Lois brought up at least two, and I brought up one. And those fences are still there, and those people have never come in.
Okay,
So-
so there's two fence violations that you know of?
Well, I think there's more than that.
Do you need to come before the planning commission to have a shed built?
Yes.
What size?
Over 120 square.
No,
No.
under 120,
Under.
because it goes before any.
Any shed.
Any shed,
Any
that
shed.
you have setbacks.
Yeah.
So,
And
they-
for the fence, it's the same thing, it has to come before us.
So by them coming, getting a shed built, they either gonna build it without coming before us, they're gonna be in violation of.
Right.
Are there
Yeah.
any sheds that you know about? that we
I don't know any off the top of my head, but sheds are harder to spot than fences.
Okay.
Well, unless it's your neighbor.
I'll put the concern on the fence.
Okay. I mean, I think we can even get addresses out there, but I think the marshal should just email us that, I don't think we want to put that in the minutes.
No.
He can email us or call us if he wants the addresses.
I guess I've never known him not to go someplace if he has an address.
Yeah, but people have never come in, which means it hasn't gotten enforced. So, and once again, it's, for me, it's more about the people doing the right thing, almost being like a penalty for doing the right.
Does he write a ticket?
I think he's supposed to.
Yep.
But if he's been writing him tickets and they haven't come in, it's gotten more expensive than
Right.
just coming and get a permit.
But the ticket copy of the ticket has to go to the municipal court.
Yeah.
And the municipal court has to say to put out a warrant or
Who does the cease and desist of the building, who makes you stop?
That would be the marshal initially.
The marshal or regional?
For fence permits and shed permits, it's the marshal,
Right, basically.
because regional isn't involved at all.
Okay.
So, I mean, if it's a shed over 120 square feet, or it has electrical, or it has a foundation, then it's regional.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's us, so.
Eric, I'd like to read, section 2-173 of the municipal code.
Sure.
2-173. Appointment, powers, and duties of the town marshal. At its first regular meeting, following each biennial election, the board of trustees shall appoint a town marshal who shall be the head of the marshal's department. It shall be the duty of the town marshal to, 1, see that the ordinances of the town are duly enforced and the rules and regulations of the marshal's department obeyed, and to perform such duties as may be required by the board of trustees. He is our code enforcement officer.
Yep. Okay. I'll make sure and also email Lori and let her know that we are putting that in the minutes and then see if she can get it on the agenda for well, someone can get it on the agenda for next time. Because the next meeting will be after the election.
Yeah.
So,
April 19th.
yes, if you could put that, ask to have that put on the agenda since we don't really know who's gonna be what, I'd appreciate it.
What on the agenda?
That's a planning commission.
What's the item?
The item to ask the marshal to enforce fence
It's gonna be
permits.
in minutes.
Right, but I think we might need to have it more,
The next
Sounds-
More formal.
it will be a different, mostly different board at that point. So
You
before,
wanna invite the marshal to the next meeting?
no, I wanna make sure that it's on the agenda for the next board of trustees meeting,
For what?
because there will have been a change in the board of trustees. So they might not see it in these minutes, is what I'm saying.
The next board will see these minutes.
Okay. I'm still requesting my name to try to get it on.
Trying to figure out what you expect to happen at that meeting.
I expect whoever is in charge to ask the marshal to enforce the fence permits.
Perform code enforcement
No.
duties.
Period. Planning commission is not in the code enforcement.
But that's why we're asking the marshal to do it.
That's right,
Yeah.
and you've done so.
I have, but I wanna make sure it gets on the agenda for next time. For the board of trustees.
Do we need a motion?
Oh, for the board of trustees?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yes, I'm going to make a motion on that. I don't know where to need to.
see, I thought you meant this.
Let's make a motion?
Let's see what happens
Okay,
It's the board of trustees agenda
without a motion?
without a motion.
Okay,
for
sounds good.
their,
We have a planning commission meeting before that, board of trustees.
okay, got it.
Our planning commission might be pretty sparse if 2 people get elected.
Mark, where are you?
You might sound like, I resist it, but this planning commission needs to focus on the land use code and not take on everything that happens. Fire pits, code enforcement. We are not a code enforcement body.
But we're supposed
We
to.
can
be
ask for,
doing fence
we can ask for
permits and
code
shed
enforcement.
permits.
That's fine, that's appropriate.
Dick, I agree with Eric
Okay.
that this matter was appropriate for us. In
Yeah.
his logic that if
I
code
got it.
enforcement. Okay, thank you.
I agree. It'll be in the minutes.
And now we're gonna move on to short-term rental discussion. This should go pretty quick, because hopefully people got a chance to look at some different categories.
I found a very nice one.
You did, awesome.
City of Steamboat Springs.
Yeah.
It, their application is 1 to here. I can, I downloaded all of those, so I can send those off.
Yeah, that would be great. And the ones I looked at, Glenwood is still the best one that I found, so. Wow, I like this, it puts the burden of giving all the names and mailing addresses of people within 300 feet.
There's stuff in there that I think we should remove. There's a lot of good stuff in there that, that we haven't I don't think we have addressed. And one thing, I think that we probably recognize it, but having a definition of what a short-term rental is, it's not clearly defined in the code. And about the only place it is in the code is in I think it's section 4, which would be taxes. It says that a lodging tax will be collected on rentals that are less than 30 days. So I think within this, we would want to include what a definition of short-term rental. And maybe just rewording what's in there, but.
Anything less than 30 days?
Yeah. So it's Outlook Lodge, short-term rental. How about calling by the end?
That commercial property, they don't need that. They have to pay their 8.13%, and their 2% lodging tax.
Okay, so that's why we want to have a definition. For that very reason. Who does it apply to? Who does it not apply to?
Residential vacation rentals, short-term vacation rentals.
What if something else pops up?
Don't
Don't know. I'm saying that it would probably be in our best interest to have a clearly defined definition.
In Willie's defense, that the fact that you have a short-term rental defined pretty much locks it into that. Anything else is not, unless the owner of that property manipulates the criteria and makes his property fit that definition. That's the whole idea, isn't it? I mean,
It's, what does this, our exercise for coming up with rules and regulations regarding short-term rentals, who does this apply to? Who doesn't it apply to?
Yeah.
The lodging tax is defined under 4. It's anything under 30 days, you have to pay the lodging tax. But what if the Blue Moose starts renting out rooms upstairs?
I don't think they can. I don't think they legally can. It's above a restaurant, and I don't think code permits that. Regional code permits that.
Business district, you're allowed to have multiple apartments within the business district.
Not above a restaurant.
They do right now.
It doesn't say that, sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, it's, these unknowns, these uncertainties, the stuff that we don't clearly agree on, there's all the more reason for having that definition of who it applies to.
Well, okay, I just want to clarify one thing. If you have, most houses are built with half-inch
sheeting,
drywall, yeah. The only way you can have a apartment above a restaurant in Colorado Springs, and as far as I was in the code of Colorado, is if you have a 3/4 inch plywood.
So you're talking about the fire code.
I'm talking about a fire code.
Yeah.
All right,
We do not have a fire code. It's up to the fire department to enforce.
actually, the
Building.
building department enforces the fire separations if there's a multi-use.
For new construction, he's talking
I
about.
know, even in,
Oh, they expect,
absolutely, yeah.
If there was a change in
If
use.
you have a business use on the first floor,
yeah,
and you had a business use on the second floor, and you change that to a residential use, there has to be a fire separation between the two.
especially.
They're allowed, but you have to fulfill that criteria.
okay,
So if there isn't a fire-coated sheetrock on the ceiling in the lower level, then you're gonna have to add enough to make up the difference, plus you're gonna have to find a way to fireproof the penetrations. In other words, if wiring or plumbing goes through that ceiling, you're gonna have to find a way to fire caulk that, so that if a fire does occur, there's gonna be an hour separation between the time that the fire starts and it gets through that ceiling.
That's all I was saying.
So they are, multiple uses are allowed in the same building,
Right.
but they do have to conform to the fire code.
That's all,
I
that's all.
mean, the comprehensive plan encourages mixed use in the business district.
So now that we've had time to all look up code we like, applications we like, what I'd like to propose is everybody sends their stuff to Renee this week. So that we're not replying to all and all that kind of fun stuff. And then Renee sends out an email with everything she got from all of us that has, so we can look at it, everybody can look it over. And at our next meeting, I'd like to see, if possible, that we all come with something of what we want the ordinance to look like.
The first draft.
Yes. So that we're making progress, hopefully in 1 or 2 meetings, then we can have something that's pretty close. And we can send it out to the board.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, so I'll
It's a
send out
train.
the Steamboat Springs, and I got something from Durango as well as Grand County, and this dealt with hot sulfur springs.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
there's bits and pieces of quite a few of these that I saw that
Yeah.
are intriguing.
And I bet hot sulfur
Probably a
is,
lot of overlaps. too.
yeah,
Yeah,
hot sulfur I bet is, if not smaller, not much bigger than us. I wouldn't be surprised if they're smaller.
I wanna make sure I get the minutes correct.
Okay,
The chairman said at the next meeting, commissioners should be ready to discuss a first draft of the
Yes.
STR ordinance.
correct.
Okay, where's this draft coming from?
It's composed of everybody should come with what they want to see in the draft, taken from what we've talked about and then we're.
Each commissioner prepares a first draft of the ordinance.
Yes,
I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that.
Repeat that again.
We each prepare a first draft.
and it can just be copy and paste from all the ones we
Yeah.
see and what you like. It's not something where you have to write everything out, on your own.
Yeah.
Just copy and paste what you want to see, and we'll look everything over, talk about it in the
I'll teach
meetings, and go from there.
So Dick, can you forward your
You got a brand
latest
new computer.
notes from PC, this most
Oh,
recent version of that?
But this whole file with notes from,
Yeah, but just the text that you have here, the most recent, I don't think this is the most recent, one to this, but send that document so that we don't have to rewrite all
It's
that.
already been sent to you.
So we can get it done.
Every,
All right, all right.
after every workshop, I send you the
Okay,
notes.
then I have that.
So you guys all
So that
have
was
that.
really detailed.
All right, thank you.
My guess is it won't take long, because, after all this discussion,
Yeah.
after all these meetings,
Yeah,
there's quite a bit of consensus. I don't see us spending an awful lot of time compiling this and putting it into ordinance.
No.
There's no monumental obstacles.
yeah, I feel like most of the stuff that we have disagreed on.
But whatever we decide, whatever we come up with, as far as the rules, regulations, and the way this is done, I'd love to see this get retroactive to all these people who did get vacation rentals, and they have to come.
Well, that's up to the board, but, it's real simple
From this one.
for the board to send a copy of this new ordinance to every STR
Yeah.
operator and just tell them, the rules, we spend a lot of time tweaking these rules, and this is what's enforced as of today.
Yeah, and I think it's something where we say, starting in 2017, when you get your business license, when you renew, this is what it's gonna be.
Of course, one of those new regulations would be that we have to have a review every year for
Yep.
this special use and conditional use, which I
Yeah,
like.
Well, you also have to keep in mind that, after the ordinance is published, 30 days later it becomes law. So, I don't think you have till 2017. I think
Right, then-
it comes into force 30 days after it's
but the
published.
review itself and the new
No,
application fee
It's there.
starts the next year.
Vacation renewal application.
Because, not application fee, sorry,
Start.
the yearly fee.
The renewal fee?
Yeah, the renewal fee. That starts the next year because you want everyone to be doing it at the same time.
Right.
Well,
And-
how many have been renewed up to now?
Well,
Since the first of the year?
right, but I think in terms of what we need to figure out a way to make it less of a burden on Renee or whoever, and, or if there's hopefully another town clerk by then. So you're not doing everything.
But don't you, isn't that a disservice kind of to the town if you don't start collecting those fees right away?
I think we just have to figure out how to do it.
I think Renee's already doing that.
Well, no, I'm talking about the yearly renewal fee.
Well, it, you know, in the grand scheme of things, the board of trustees is the ones who's going, I mean, we're gonna give them a package.
Yeah.
They may tweak that a little bit, and then say, here's how we're going to implement
That's
this.
true. I mean, what we
We
recommend.
don't implement, we're making a recommendation to the board.
Right, Jake.
Right.
Renee is collecting the quarterly taxes,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
going on, ongoing now.
That was the
The
very
quarterly
first thing-
tax is the lion's share of it, and that's what
We're talking about the whole package and all the rules and regs
Right.
that they,
The application fee is to pay for her time to set stuff up, it's not isn't to generate revenue.
First quarter's getting ready to go out.
So one thing I'd like to do is I hopefully help you set this up is I wanna, if you're okay with it, I'd like to set it up so that the whole packet, people can fill it online as a PDF so that we don't have to try to decipher people's writing. And it's just simpler, if you're okay with that. Okay, I'll try to, as we work on all this and get it finalized, I'll try to set it up better.
Don't make it a PDF, make it a doc.
No,
Renee, do you remember approximately when you started
He
Word
doesn't,
is horrible.
he doesn't have a
collecting live
conversion, he
subjects?
doesn't have a converter.
you don't need a converter.
No, you
If you're going
you fill
to-
it out online,
Pardon?
I started.
you fill it out online.
Oh, okay, sorry.
July?
No, I started collecting the fees fourth quarter 2015. Prior to that,
September?
Fourth quarter.
October, November, December.
so October, November, December, I
You
collected,
sent out a letter
I did,
that said, pay taxes.
yeah, October through
When
December,
did that notification go out to the STRs?
at the end of December.
End of,
December.
okay, thank you.
Sorry, I don't have a voice.
That's
That's
fair.
fine.
What do you think?
No, we're talking about the final product, Mike, not just the intro.
Yeah, okay.
There's another letter getting ready to go out at the end of this week.
Cool.
Because we gave them till the 20th to pay, so as long as they get it by the end of the first quarter, which would be January, February, end of March.
Yeah.
And the letter states that we have to have payment by April 20th.
Right, or a zero filing.
Right,
They have to have.
and zero is stated in
What
And
was the,
cost.
what was the percentage of compliance on your first letter went out in December?
I don't know, I'd have to go back and look.
I mean,
Well, you
They
know,
all
probably
comply?
not, Dick, probably not many, because, except for maybe a couple in town, because don't forget, we are summer only. A lot of these houses are shut down and don't rent in the winter time, so basically, the only quarterly taxes you're gonna be getting would be from the lakeside cottages, the bar, the Outlook Lodge if they're renting, and the Mucky Duck. and
There is a
places.
couple outside of those, but not many.
Yeah, but not many, because it is off-season, but, yeah.
I just wanted to build a case saying, look, Board of Trustees, we haven't been sleeping on this. Renee has been aggressive in following up on collecting lodging taxes starting in December. We're not waiting until we get a brand new ordinance
No, right.
or application forms or anything like that. There's already been action taken with all the known
It's business as usual.
to collect taxes. So, and I think I want to give Renee credit for doing that.
Renee deserves credit for a lot of stuff.
Taking an after.
Yeah. So, we're actually on number 7.
Oh, good.
And I think that we all got the article that Mike sent, and so we all had a chance to read it. And
It's a whole different type of a rental situation. It's nothing I don't think it's, I think they're coming down on people who are just having second homes to rent out. I think they're letting people rent their basement or their mother-in-law apartment, isn't that right? I'm not sure.
Well, it's very convoluted and very confusing, and I'm not suggesting that you adopt any of that, just the idea that this is what's happening in other parts of the state, and it's, for all intents and purposes, it's a lot worse than what we've
Right,
been able
yeah.
to conceive of.
You know, I think we have a pretty good cut and dried situation with our STRs and vacation rentals. I mean, I think we basically only have 30 or 35. I mean, if we can't control that, and now we have a a cap, we don't have that type of a problem. We don't have a problem that, I got this copy, who was that from, Dick, that you gave that from, was that Estes Park? Estes Park had a whole big, I mean, it looked to me like,
White people.
it looked to me like they had problems. I mean, they had to do a whole.
It's kind of like what's happening in a lot of cities where they have a big tourist population, or they have a big, you know, it was where people who work there, who work the jobs everyone needs, you know, the gas station or the school teacher, they were getting priced out. They couldn't live there because it's either an STR or the housing price is going up or something like that. So,
And we're such a small town that we can't control how these houses operate. For example, what we keep saying as far as the parking, the septic, the trash, the noise level, all this stuff that we want to have them adhere to the rules and regulations of the town. It's so simple. They come before the board, they go before the trustees, they get approved, they don't get approved. We don't have to worry about.
Well, you know, I think that once the short-term rental community gets a comfort level with the new regulations, it's gonna make it a lot easier
Right.
for everybody involved.
This is what I'm saying.
So
It's not that difficult. I mean, what we're proposing is not a burden. The thing I just read right there seemed like it was there's a whole.
and I think it's gonna be good too, because it'll protect the town, because it makes some of it less objective or subjective. Wait, I always get those two confused.
If you recall, the other examples that Willie and others picked up from other municipalities.
Yeah.
The situation is different in every one of them, and hardly any of them the same as Green Mountain Falls.
Yeah.
You have ski resorts where you have entirely different ownership, timeshare condos and short-term rentals, requiring people to live in the unit, that kind of stuff. Grand Lake has a different situation. A lot of transient tourists, it's not a ski area, but they have really made a huge regulatory control in that situation. Went through a long process of study. Steamboat, we just started to get familiar with what they've done. So
We're very
the bottom line is Green Mountain Falls is unique, and I think we've had several workshops and long and lengthy discussions for months now. We started back in November, guys, and I think we've done a good job. I can't think of any concerns we haven't really addressed. We have to refine the wording a little bit, but I think we've done a very thorough job.
Well, I do know one thing. Oh, sorry, Mike.
I don't want to bring up a problem, but I just heard this morning that the Bible College is going to start offering 6-week long intense studies. And where are they going to put the people? It comes out of the tourist. I'm going to a conference tomorrow on tourism, and it came out of that the Bible College has got them spaced. First 2 weeks, or the first one is month of May to the middle of June, okay, and then every 6 weeks after that, and they're talking about 500 people coming to these things. Where are they going to put them? And that's got Colorado Springs concerned. Woodland Park is already so saturated; they don't know what to do. So I was going to bring that up earlier.
It's over 30 days.
I know it's over 30 days, but yet it's not. not a full rental, like, you know, do you have to worry about something like that?
That's the nice thing about this.
Yeah.
If it becomes a problem, you go back and revise it and say,
Well, you know, the Bible college's, situation, they've got the money there, if they're gonna have a process where they're putting 500 people through a 6-week course, and then continue that 6-week course every 6 weeks, then what they ought to do is build a dormitory, or build an apartment complex and house their own.
well, that's why that one got built in Wooden Park, right?
Yeah.
That thing's full already.
It's more than
Have
full.
you checked the rent on that?
It's like $1,000
Two
a month.
bedrooms or 1,012?
How much?
1,012.
Religion is expensive these days.
3-bedroom is 1,300.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what that does to short-term rentals, because they're, you know,
In the wrong
people who operate a short-term rental, some of them aren't gonna wanna tie up six weeks. And so they won't be interested in those, but there's gonna be some people that, hey,
That
I've got
sounds really
somebody
attractive.
I've got somebody for 6 weeks,
Yeah.
I'm gonna rent it for 6 weeks.
Well, my guess is that they'll work up some kind of a commission or a group, that's gonna rent their houses on a contract basis with the Bible college.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're gonna have somebody new in there every 6 weeks, but they're gonna have full occupancy
Yeah.
throughout the whole year, because they've got those 6 weeks people.
500
You can start building apartment buildings now?
Not on your life, not under any circumstance.
Well, I think we're good for tonight.
Let's go home.
Are we adjourned?
I make a motion.
Before we
Yes.
stop though,
Yes.
I had brought up to a couple of you guys, like 3 of you, I think, about zoning codes being on the assessor side.
Oh, yeah.
So what's happening is, real estate agents or other people who live out of state are looking on the El Paso County assessor side, and they are, not seeing any zoning for places that may be for sale in Green Mountain Falls. And so, they come in and they ask me.
Yeah.
What the codes, you know, if it's R1, R2, and I can tell them from the map that you guys.
Right.
But they're questioning why it isn't on the assessor side, so I checked into it. And according to El Paso County, Green Mountain Falls, Manitou Springs, Fountain, other small communities don't give that information to the assessor side.
Right.
So is that something that
Well, we should
we would
not,
ever want to?
we should not, the reason I say that is there's one official zoning map, it's part of our comprehensive plan, it's codified, it's part of our ordinance. That is the only document that should be relied on for information. Now, if you send something to the assessor's office and it's not right, then we get liable.
So why can't we
In
put a
court.
digital copy of that on our website?
We should. I agree.
That's an easy fix.
So,
So somebody calls the assessor's site, they can say, go to this website, or put a link.
I know you can't scan it in, but you can go up to UPS
Zoning map on website.
and they'll scan it in for like $4 or $5.
Yeah, should be.
And your time is, one call will cost more than $4 or $5. So,
We would need to check to see that our map is updated, because I know in the last 6 or 8 months, we changed zoning.
Oh, yeah,
on
that's
at least
our,
one property. R1 to R2, R2, R1 to R2.
R1, R2.
We rezone something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Are you
house
on the board yet?
Where?
at the bottom of
It's the one of the
Grandview,
ones, it's one of the ones with that, fence.
across from Sally Bush.
Right down here.
They put up a fence without talking
Oh, gosh, that's right.
Randy's.
to us. You know the fence that was really not
I
awesome?
went to R2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so they make it easier for
I
them to
had
sell.
forgotten about
It
that.
wasn't
yeah,
built
because he had
properly.
one septic system and 2
Because we're on the
houses.
same septic system.
Right.
I forgot
Two
about that.
buildings on the same lot.
Yeah,
And he's
Yeah,
going,
you're absolutely right.
he's going to be putting them up for sale if he hasn't.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the only one I
Yeah,
know.
he will be because he just came into my house.
Yeah,
I forgot about
that, I'm still, I wish we could have forced him to get the fences fixed
Yeah,
with the fence permit before we approved R2. But
they're totally separate.
I know they're totally separate, but
I'm on the same page, I understand the motivation there.
yeah,
So the deal is to scan the,
that's what I would support doing, is scan that map in. And the UPS store definitely has a big enough scanner, you can scan it. How big is that? I might be able to do it at work. I'll come look at it.
It's a D-size drawing if you did
without,
architectural, it's 2 foot by 3.
yeah, it's about the size of that, without the.
D size.
Picture.
I like it.
Size of that.
D
picture.
size.
Do you want me to get it scanned in and,
Here it is. That's
Well-
the exist,
right, but we have a bigger one. We
Oh,
don't
yeah,
have the
we-
bigger one scanned in. not the
It's bigger when you get
20 by
more,
30.
you can
Right.
zoom in.
We wanna do the 20 by 30 scanned in.
But see, that was,
Detail.
Dick, that was not current, so we're gonna need a map and need to make sure that it's current.
Yeah,
Isn't there a duplex at, Grandview and? what's the other one?
Yeah, it's a duplex in
Okay,
Grandview
yeah,
and
it's right
Lake.
here. It is R2. Okay.
we're
Never
renting
never
the
mind.
cul-de-sac.
Right behind, like.
It's where you come up, you turn right
That
on the lake,
rezone
Right
and then you go
below,
up.
Rezone was right here.
K and.
Ann?
Shaw.
Ann,
These
yeah.
three.
Corner Ann and Grandview on the southwest corner. That's a duplex there. isn't it?
Yeah, upstairs, downstairs, yeah.
Ann Street and Grandview.
Yeah.
Here?
It's on Grandview as
That's right.
opposed to Ann.
Okay, actually, Matt, the entrance is on the lower street.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
parking on it, there is
Yeah, and that,
a couple of parking spaces on Grandview.
on this map it's showing.
I don't know that that's duplex, it might be a fourplex.
No, it's a duplex.
We're gonna be it's gonna be R2.
Should be.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it is.
Well, on this one it is. I'm
Oh,
not
it
sure,
is, okay.
I'm not sure the one that.
So
the
do we
town
even
has.
have a current map?
We do have a current map.
We do, okay. Do we get it reprinted every time we rezone?
Don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna suggest no.
You
But
can
maybe
try
you can attach,
show amendments.
yeah.
Okay.
The map that I have that I looked at is dated 2007.
Does your map show,
Neat one.
numbers, the track numbers? or
Next
the-
one before the
or
fire.
the- Not the track, what you get at the assessor's office?
Schedule numbers,
Plats, the schedule.
The schedule numbers.
Yeah.
Does it show the schedule?
lot
numbers?
numbers,
No.
It shows lot numbers, not schedule numbers.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
here it is, man.
It's color coded, it's,
So it doesn't show lot numbers.
it doesn't show numbers.
It probably should show lots and blocks.
So one thing for you guys to think about, and real quick, question first.
Hmm.
Is the lot behind Joyland towards 24, is that in Green Mountain Falls? I think it is.
The lot
Yes.
behind.
Okay. So I think you guys have expressed that we probably don't wanna allow tiny houses in Green Mountain Falls. I think right now we're looking up to that because there's someone living in an RV back there. And if we're letting people live in RVs in town, then,
That's against the code.
right, but it's been that way and it's really obvious from 24 and nothing's done about it. So I feel like if we're not gonna enforce our codes, we're leaving ourselves open
Well,
to tiny
then,
houses.
that's something that the marshal should be addressing.
Right, I agree, but how do we get that to happen?
Right here.
Well, somebody's got to inform, if you don't know, you don't know. Once he
It
knows that he needs to
may be.
Yeah.
enforce the code, then he has to enforce it.
Yeah,
This is the line.
That's.
It appears so.
Probably here. Do you view
But-
that?
I don't know, I mean, I think that's against code.
That's Andy's,
Well, it is, I know
It's
that.
it's outside
that's
town.
Andy's place,
Oh,
it's in
it
the
is?
town, it's not in the town.
It is,
The
okay.
only thing you can allow in town is 18 feet, 20 feet, sorry, 20 feet.
Andy,
Yeah,
21, okay, 21, and under no circumstances can you live in it.
okay,
Right.
it's Andrew Pittman's
okay, so it is in the counties,
guy.
cool. Never mind, I just can,
That's okay.
because I'm cool with tiny houses in town, but I know it's been expressed that people
What
want
do
to.
you refer to tiny houses like you see up there by the?
No, those are
300,
mobile homes.
400 square feet.
Yeah,
Is there a reason to deny
There's not a good reason, but I've heard people expressing that they don't want it.
The septic aspect of having a tiny home.
That's
is
actually
good.
not, there's commercial, El Paso County, Health Department actually approves commercial, composting toilets that you can use in homes. So that's not, but, okay,
Are we adjourned?
yeah, we're good.
Okay.
We're gonna adjourn at 7:56.
At your next planning commission, Mr. Latlin's coming in, Lynn's coming in, Tad Whitman's coming in, he's very much request.
Okay, awesome.